There I was, standing on the verge of collapse, one step swinging in the wind and the other anchored upon whatever was left of my moral compass. When I looked up, all I could see were rays of anxiety, depression, and despair. But down there I saw the possibility of freedom sharing a coffee with death. And in that moment, I could hear my lungs begging me not to take another breath, which gave birth to a lustful desire within me to turn that twosome into a three, because I was in pain and I desperately wanted to be free. I needed to be free. Free from being molested by the agonies of a reality that I would never know peace as long as I lived, and the groping aura of sadness that seemed bent on testing my endurance. I could hear Solace whisper her room number in the land of the dead. She told me to just let go and not be afraid, that she was ready to give herself to me as long as I did not have a cavalry of emotions chasing my life and firing bullets of condemnation and dissatisfaction that would leave injuries of regret, and that the way to do so was simply jumping off that cliff without a fret. And I was honestly enticed by a seductive flirt, and with every second passed, I felt more inclined to letting go of everything that was holding me back. My body had become an empty hole. It was no more than a nightclub where haunted memories and the horrors of all that was wrong in my life hosted wild parties, as they ate away at my very humanity and emptied all the bottles that contained my will to live, leading me to believe in the worst possible lies about the purpose of my existence. I was caught in an unforgiving forest of confusion, so that I couldn't tell who between me and my life needed to forgive the other, or who from either my family, friends, and I was to blame for that. Instead of living, I would rather have died. My own mirror no longer wanted to look at me. But that wasn't at all mean, because truth be told, I didn't think I was bold enough to stare into my mirror's eyes and behold the flesh of my reflection in my sight, to witness how my skin was slowly dying because of the acid rain that poured from my eyes every day and night, to watch my soul in liquid form as it flowed from my wounds. I honestly could not. The pain, the sorrow, the depression, the anxiety, the anguish, and the pressure had me pinned in a dark corner where they took turns on me for their sadistic pleasure. I was a victim of emotional rape, and I could neither scream nor escape. And even if I could, no one was willing to listen. So I lay quietly as I watched this gang of emotions become the building blocks of the castle of suicide being built up within me. And then there I was, standing on the pinnacle with nothing to lose or gain, because to me, even the freedom death was promising was much just a consolidation. But I remember Jesus being tempted, how Lucifer had him on the temple and asked him to let go. I remembered Eve in the garden, and how he had himself disguised as a serpent to tempt her into giving up her rights to life. Then I realized the devil was only playing dress up, that every one of my soul-crushing emotions was just another of his costumes, and that perhaps the reason I couldn't see it earlier was because of the perfume. I'm sorry. Then I decided I wouldn't give him the joy of having the feast and toasting to my defeat. I was no longer going to be fooled. I was no longer buying his lies, and I decided that day to break all my ties to his stressful game, which I've been playing for quite some time. I was no longer going to play, because surely suicide wasn't the way. I decided to show the devil that I was stronger than he thought I was when he picked on me as his next bully victim. I screamed back in his face and told him, "Nigga, I'ma be the one that ends the suicide system." I took my gun of truth, shot him right in the gut, and watched him bleed. In that moment, I could hear chains being loosened and my hope being freed. I heard symphonies of love replacing the hate, and the litanies of anxiety being replaced by faith. I heard a voice calling me into a banquet that was held to celebrate my win. Now today I live my life in victory, knowing I overcame, and I know for sure that you could do the same. So please, don't kill yourself. Game.